I'm Frances and I work for the British Nutrition Foundation, and I'm going to be doing some cooking with you today as part of B&F Healthy Eating Week at home. And we're going to make tuna pasta bake with whole wheat spaghetti, or in fact what we're using today is actually fusilli, or you could use penne pasta, and we're going to put some tuna in it as well. So I'm going to go through the ingredients very quickly, and then we'll get on and do some making. But before that, you need to make sure that you're ready to cook. So you've thoroughly washed and dried your hands, you've got your apron on, and then you're ready to go. So I've already got my pasta on, I have to say, so just going to give that a quick stir. Just for speed, I've got that on. And also for speed, I've got some of the ingredients ready as well. So we're going to be using some lovely red pepper. We're going to be using some onion. And I've already prepared the onion, half of it, but I'm going to show you how to prepare the other half. I've got some garlic, I've got some canned chopped tomatoes, some lovely fresh basil. I don't know if you can see, I've got a little basil plant growing over there, but you don't have to use fresh basil, you could use dried basil if you wanted to. And then I've got some fresh spinach, but you could use frozen spinach if you wanted to use that instead. And I've got some tuna, and now I've drained the tuna and I've flaked it with a fork, so that's ready to use. And then I've got some grated cheese, but you could use sliced mozzarella if you wanted to use that instead. And then you might have noticed that I've got an additional pepper here, and that was just to show you a bit of a trick really about how to prepare peppers in a nice sort of fun, easy way. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So as I said, I've got my pasta on. I'm going to get my onion cooking first of all. So I've got some spray oil, and I'm just going to add a few sprays of oil to my pan. And you could use olive oil or vegetable oil if you wanted to, and I'm just going to get that on. Now I've got my handle turned in, you might notice that, just to make sure that I don't knock it and have an accident. So that's turned in and that one's turned to the back. So with my onion, I'm going to add this bit first, I think. So just add this bit in. Give that a bit of a stir. And that's going to start cooking whilst I cut the rest. So as you notice, that's only half an onion. So I've peeled it, I've cut it in half. And then I'm going to dice it. So I'm going to use what we call the bridge and the claw. So first of all, I'm just going to take the top off, and I'm going to use my claw in order to do that. I'm just going to slice the very top off. And then if you notice, I've kept the end on because that's actually what holds it all together. And then I'm going to again use my claw, and I'm going to just slice down towards the root, moving my fingers out of the way. And then I'm just going to use my bridge to hold it together and then turn it round again. I'm just going to turn this down just a little bit because that's a bit hot. Give it another stir. So back to my onion. And then if you can see that, I've got my finger sitting on the top, out of the way. And then I'm just going to use my knife just to slice safely. Move my fingers back, out of the way. Oh, and there we go. We're going to leave it at that point. Sometimes it gets a bit slippery, so you have to be a little bit careful. And then I'm just going to place my peelings in my little bin there, which I'll put in the recycling bin later on, or the composting bin I should say. And I'm just going to add that into my saucepan. And I'm also going to add my garlic. And I'm going to add my pepper. Give that a stir and let them soften probably for about 5 minutes. Just while they're cooking, I just want to show you this lovely little neat trick with the pepper. So we've got the top on the pepper, and a really nice way to get rid of this is just use your fingers just to push into the top of it and just push it down. And there we go. Just pull it out. There you go. There is the top of the pepper. And then if you get your waste bowl, and then if you can just tap out some of the seeds, because when you're using pepper, what you don't want to do is actually use the seeds because they're actually quite hot, whereas the pepper is lovely and sweet, but the seeds are very hot. And then with a pair of scissors, now make sure that these are kitchen scissors, they're not the scissors that you might be using for art or something like that, or needlework. So with some scissors, you just cut around the pepper. And And then you can then use the scissors just to cut the pepper into slices. So this means it's quite a nice, safe way to cut something like this rather than using a knife if you wanted to. So it's just a little trick I wanted to show you. So as I'm finished with those, I'm going to put those to one side. And then I'm going to come back to my dish. And I'm just going to give that a stir around. So that's softening nicely and my pasta is boiling away nicely. And now I'm going to add my canned tomatoes and pour those in gently so they don't splash. So that's one can and another can. I'll turn it up again a little bit more. And then I'm going to add my basil. Going to give it a stir. And I'm going to let that simmer for about sort of 5 to 10 minutes until it softens up. My pasta is now done. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add my spinach into the pan with the pasta. I'm going to turn it off for a moment and then I'm just going to move it forwards. And then I'm just going to add, oh, it's gone everywhere. I'm just going to add my spinach. It really has gone everywhere. And add it into my pan. So I might need to use a bigger pan than I have. I'm going to stir my pasta and my spinach because what I want to do is get the spinach to wilt in the pasta water. And I'm going to leave that just for a few minutes to wilt whilst that's so my pasta's cooked, my spinach is wilted, and I've now also drained it as well. So the sauce is done, so I'm going to turn that off and then very carefully I'm going to pour my sauce on top of my spinach and my pasta. I'm standing out of the way so I don't get splashed. Give that, okay, and I'm going to give that a stir. Well, that's looking lovely. Give it a nice stir around. And then I'm going to add my tuna, which, as I said earlier, I've already flaked. And again, give that a lovely stir. Now this is tuna in spring water, so it's always better if you can get spring water, then that's great, rather than oil or brine. Okay, I'm just going to season it with some black pepper. I'm going to add it to my dish. It's a bit heavy. Spread it around. Oh, that looks lovely. And then I'm just going to sprinkle on the top some reduced fat cheddar cheese, and I'm going to put it under the grill until it's lovely and golden and melted, and that will take probably about 5 to 10 minutes. So here we have a lovely tuna pasta bake with a nice salad. Now you might remember at the beginning of the cooking video I actually showed you how to cut up a pepper using scissors. Well, I've actually not wasted that pepper, I've added it to my salad, and that's what I'm going to serve with my tuna pasta bake for my dinner. I hope you enjoy it, as I'm sure my family will later on.